we've had lots of requests for us to do a decking video, so we're going to go ahead and do that. The decking that we use is Seadek. It's an EVA foam, so it's soft, it's easy to curve. You can see here our deck needs a lot of work. Cosmetically, it's just kind of ugly. It looks dirty, and the non-skid texture is really bad. So again, here, just for ease of, sorry, try to keep my fingers out of here. For ease of installing, I think I'm going to use this as a guide for my second row. My very first row is going to start right here. That way it's nice and easy, and then just curve up. General rule of thumb on this is mark your center line, which I'll do here in a minute. And then you'll do 2 rows straight here in the middle, and then everything else will be curved and butt up to that. It's really pretty simple once you start getting going. But the very front of the bow is the toughest part, the most cuts. We got quite a few things to work around. Today's a little bit breezy, a little gusty every now and then, so you can't really tell because the water's pretty still. We're pretty protected, but every now and then we'll get a good gust, so I can't really untie either of these lines, so we'll just work around those. But yeah, I'll give you guys a few tips here and there. What I do, I'm going to go ahead and clean up the deck a little bit from where my lines were coiled there. Sometimes you'll need to sand if you got really aggressive non-skid. This is not too bad, so we're just going to go over top of it, just clean it with some acetone, and go from there. So here you'll see me kind of getting the center piece ready. So this part is really important. This is your very center piece. You'll have 2 rows with a black strip on each side. This will be your center piece that all the other pieces will curve up to. So you need to find the very center line of the boat. You can do that by measuring. I like to measure, from the edges and go from there. Here I'm measuring out the center section here, making sure it's straight with the bowsprit. Most boats, you won't have a bowsprit, I would imagine. You'll want to just get this in the middle. This is pretty important that you get in the very middle so that all of your pieces that butt up to this are all, consistent. Yeah, a little bit of time here will save you a lot of issues down the install process. Okay, so I'm just getting my center line for the very first piece. We'll basically go like this. It's exactly the same size as the bowsprit, which is nice. Everything will look pretty cohesive here. So let's see, I'm gonna measure here. It's exactly 5 inches, so we'll just come, I've got my lines marked here. We'll go 2.5 to mark the center line. Okay, there's my center. I've got my center line marked here as well. And then, so now I know exactly where this needs to go. I'm gonna mark it here as well. I might even put a piece of tape here and a piece of tape here, just so I can make sure I've got it in the right spot. Okay, I'm gonna mark my lines here, both sides. Then at the back I'll do the same. Line up the center line, mark each side, and then I will get my straight edge. Okay, so now I'll just connect my lines. Okay, so there's my centerpiece. That will go in very last, and as I come up with my other pieces as they're curved, I'll sort of mark a line here, and then a straight edge, and cut it there, and I'll show you how I do that. So I'm just using a speed square, make a cut. You can also do it this way, which is kind of handy. Let me grab this. Line it up, press that in place, and then it marks it for you. And you can just cut it that way. I need to get my better knife. For some reason I'm using this one, not a good one. And then this is just a sacrificial piece. So, okay. So I like to try to work from the outside in. And then on this, I'm going to use this as my outside edge. And then my next row will be nice and even. I think that's going to save me a lot of cutting. So that's the goal. And then I'll mark whatever this distance is all the way down. So I have my outside edge. I'll have a little trimming to do here. And what I may do is just cut off a piece of this, because I'll probably mess it up once or twice. I'm just getting started. It takes a minute to get the groove, and then piece it in so that if I ruin it, I just ruined a little 6-inch piece. I'm just using this pencil as a spacer here, marking as I go. It's so windy. Okay, so I've marked around this obstacle with a piece of tape, or a bunch of pieces of tape, and then I will just put that there and mark right there, do like a little V, and then back here I'll just take it and go to where, line up my outside, so right about there, and we can just continue going down. So now I'll connect these and cut that out, lay that on top, and then cut this out. Okay, so this is just the starting point. So I'm just peeling off a little bit at a time, curving as I go, looking for my outside marks, pressing down. Go, and then I can trim this now. Just press down with a knife. Just put one side edge. Grab my marker. There we go. Nice clean edge, and then the next row will line up evenly with that. Be nice and easy. So what we would do is just keep on going straight down the edge, and then work our way in. Do one side at a time, or both sides, both edges. So here's another little trick. If you press down on this on your obstacle, it will leave a memory on the back side, and then you just mark it out and trace it. See the memory there? And it's just a nice easy trim. Go. Pretty good. These little birds you can just sand off. Just like that. Okay, we'll speed this up just a little bit so you can see the very bow is going to take the longest. There's the most things to work around, the most measurements, but once you get around all the obstacles, it really starts to happen quick and come together quick. Right about right here, you start flying, and most boats will be, a little bit simpler than this one. There's a lot of things to work around here. So here is about a quarter of the way finished. Still a lot of fine detail cuts to make here behind this little track. But yeah, really starting to move and starting to look good. We've got some green masking tape to help with keeping cut straight. So we're getting there. Just one strip at a time. This part goes quick because there's not a lot of cutting, just strip after strip, and then I'll come back and do this fine tune and hopefully be able to get that finished here before it gets too dark. Here I'm laying the side decks, which goes surprisingly quick. No cuts really to do there. Here's some fine detail work here. These are just small pieces. I'm using my putty knife to kind of mark clean straight lines and then cutting with my razor knife. So here's today's progress. Not too bad. Pretty happy with it so far. Nice clean lines. About 3 hours worth of work, I think. Day 2 was working at the stern, staying on the starboard side. This went pretty quick, just smaller pieces here, pretty narrow area to work. A few things to work around, but generally not too difficult. Used some tape, masking tape to help with some of these circles, and a contour gauge, which you'll see here in just a minute. Really helped with the circles and marking it out. This part was pretty satisfying to do, and really, I don't know, probably took about an hour or so. And here's some progress shots from day 2. Really could have probably got this done in one day, but kind of starting halfway through the day, this is what I got. So yeah, about a day to 2 days worth of work here. Day 3, I started on the port side, went fairly quick, just because you're in the groove of things. And then all that's left here is the center strip. Prep is key on all this stuff. I know I didn't show a lot of cleaning, but yeah, wipe down with a lot of wipes and alcohol, and just trying to make this really clean so everything sticks really well. But yeah, prep is key with anything that you do. Here I'm finishing up at the bow. You can kind of see my technique a little bit here with the putty knife of marking the lines and cutting. This is the easiest way to do it because eventually the memory will fade in the foam, and it's not like having a pencil mark or marker or anything like that. And you can see how easily it bends here. And then here is more or less finished product at the bow. Looks nice and clean. Pretty happy with it. Still have to do a little bit of work on the side decks here. So we're going to kind of jump back in time just a little bit. This is how the sheets come. It's super easy to cut. I will show another method here in a minute, but I'm using a piece of sacrificial foam underneath just to cut individual strips so that it can curve easily. Once you get the backing paper off of it, it really curves easily. So don't be too afraid about that. Everyone asks, how do you get it to bend? It bends so easy. So yeah, this a full 4x7 sheet of Seadek. And then here I'm kind of showing the sacrificial piece. This is pretty important. This is your main center piece. You'll want a black strip on both sides. That will make it so that a few of your pieces are not really usable because you'll be stealing the black strip from another piece, but this is your very center piece. Here is the second method of cutting. Not everybody will be able to do this, but we just happen to have this big island that is pretty much perfect for cutting Seadek. You'll see here in a second, I'll put some weights on this, and I'll line up the edge with where I want to cut on the countertop and just run my blade along the edge. And it goes really fast, saves your back. If you're like me and bending over a lot, there's lots of bending over in a job like laying Seadek. Try to save your back as much as you can. Here I am getting a fancy pot to hold it down. Whatever works. So here's kind of what I'm trying to do. I'm using the straight edge of the countertop and cutting so that there's a black strip on the side here and just sliding all the way down. It's pretty easy to cut because that strip is thinner than the brown part. So it cuts really easy because it's really thin. So yeah, you just keep cutting pretty much every strip until they're all cut. You can cut this into 2 rows if you want, depending on how much you're doing. Still curves pretty easy. I like to do mostly strips of 1. This is your center piece, so you'll have a black strip on both sides. And then you'll have, this is rows of 1, which I like to use the best, and then some rows of 2, which I actually eventually cut those back into rows of 1. These are your thinner strips for edges and details if you want to use those. Those are useful. This is what it looks like all packaged up after everything's cut down to size. So here's the boat, 95% finished as far as the Seadek goes. Side decks are all finished on the starboard side. And then on the port side, we've got a couple little small pieces to do. The stern is pretty much all finished. We've got just one little area around this little doorway vent here that you can see. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. Just maybe an hour's worth of work, and we're all set. We're really big fans of Seadek. I think we'll always have it on all of our boats. So hopefully this video has answered a lot of questions and helps if you go to install Seadek yourself.